Hey guys, Brian here, and today we're going to talk about just kind of basic shotgun cleaning with the bore snake. Just an overview of the gun that I'm going to be showing you guys on. This is a Savage Stevens 555. This is kind of the nicer version, the triple nickel. Some people have been calling them, but this gun's been pretty good. I'm going to do a full breakdown. I have two of these, a 16 and a 28. This is my 16 gauge. This is kind of my go-to pheasant hunting, quail hunting, dog training gun. So let's get into it here. First thing you're going to need is you're going to need your bore snake. They come in pretty much any size that you want. Kind of where I draw the line on the bore snake is any of my rifles. I kind of just use a rod on those. When we get to that point, I'll show you guys. But all the shotguns, I pretty much just use a bore snake on. Anything without rifling. The next thing is I use like a silicone rag, wipe down rag. This Hops rag's been really good. Been using that for a long time. First, we're gonna need some kind of bore cleaner. This is a Hops number 9 bore cleaner, and then we're gonna follow up with an oil. I use the Hops Precision oil. It's just been really good. It doesn't collect a lot of dirt and grime like some of the oils do. And then just a basic brush and pick set, just getting down the action, make sure everything's clean. When you guys are cleaning actions, you know, this is a pure nylon brush here. This is the one I like to use. Very rarely will you see me use like a brass brush or even the nylon brass one together. The majority of what we're doing, we don't need to be scrubbing that hard, especially some of these finishes just can't quite take that kind of abrasion. So I try to keep it to the nylon brushes and all plastic tipped picks if I need to get in there with a pick. And then I usually just have a couple rags, just kind of wipe stuff down. When I take it apart, I'm going to wipe it down first to kind of get any dirt or grime that's already in there. So let's start taking this gun down. Just kind of a typical over-under takedown. You take the forearm grip off, you open it up, and now we have our 3 parts. So the first thing I always start cleaning is the barrel, and we have some oil on here from when I had cleaned it when I had purchased the gun. I've had this for about 6 months now. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wipe some of this oil off of here. Just get that initial wipe down on this part before we even start cleaning anything. That way if there's a little bit of dirt here, we're not going to pull that dirt into the action. So once I have that out, I'm going to take my bore snake. I'm going to pull it out of the container, and they come raveled up. And these are kind of a nice design. The ball up here, this is where I'm going to put my bore cleaner. It's got a short section to kind of wipe the barrel, and then it's got a fine brush on it, and then the rest of it kind of mops the barrel out. And then on our final pass, I'll actually put oil down here at the end. Right here before it goes to the flat, I'll put a little bit of oil right in here, and then I'll mop the oil through the bore so I can put it away for storage. This comes with a T-handle. If you want to use it, you just kind of feed this through and go like that. With a new bore snake, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is nice. Originally they didn't come with these, and when the bore snake's nice, fresh, and new, they're kind of a bear sometimes to pull through there. So let's get set up here. I didn't mention before, I just got kind of a soft, this is kind of like one of them comfort rugs. I always put that down when I'm cleaning just so nothing gets scratched. I make sure it stays nice and clean, no dirt on it. This is a new thing of Hops, so I got to open it up. A lot of times I'll just take my pin and I'll put just a little hole in it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I put just a little hole in there so that I can put it on the end of my mop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my top barrel. It don't matter, you can start top or bottom. But I'm going to feed the string through first, the pull cord. And once I have that pulled through, I'm just going to pull it pretty much to the front of the barrel with the cotton part up. I'm going to grab my T-handle and I'm going to fit it into the cord like that. I have that all together now. And then I'll take my hops and I'm going to put just a little bit on here. I want to kind of saturate this a little bit. You know, I want to get a fair amount on here. Not saying this gun's real dirty, but you know, it is my pheasant hunting gun, so it does see a little bit of a little bit more harsh conditions than say like a clay gun would get. You know, this thing is out and blowing snow and things of that nature. So we're gonna get everything lined up here on our barrel. We're gonna grab our T-handle and we're gonna start pulling that through. Once you get it started, it's kind of easier to pull through. I just wrap it around my hands and I'm gonna pull that all the way out. Now, as you can see, it's pretty dirty up here, but the end of the snake is pretty clean. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run it through again, same barrel. That actually pulled fairly decent. I don't know if I need to put the T-handle on every time. So now I'm going to resaturate this with hops. And I'm going to pull that through there. Now I want to take and visually inspect the barrel. Looks pretty clean. We got just a couple little itty bitty fuzzies down in here from the boar snake being brand new. You'll have that. You know, if I didn't have chokes in here, they probably wouldn't have stuck. You know, if it was just a normal over-under without changeable chokes. So now, while we're still got the bore cleaner out, we're going to go to our bottom barrel. And we're going to just feed the pull cord down in there. And we kind of just rinse and repeat here. We want to keep this snake up on a clean area. If you're doing this sitting down in a chair, don't let this drag on the ground. Otherwise you pull all that dirt that's on your ground, on the floor, you know, right up into the bore, and you don't want to be doing that. So we'll pull this one through. And we'll do that twice. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we're starting to get some hops on the end of the bore, and that's perfectly normal. We'll wipe that all down when we're done here. We're going to put just a little bit more hops on here, not much. And we're going to pull that through again. Now we're going to visually inspect that barrel. It's nice and clean all the way through. There's no powder residue. I'm going to take my rag and I'm going to wipe off just the excess hops so I'm not pulling that through on my oil run. And I'm going to feed that into the top barrel again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here right before it is kind of folded over, and I'm going to deposit my oil on here. Now you don't want to put a lot, but you want to get just enough to kind of cover the center on both sides so that it gives it a good coating of oil when you pour it through the bore. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom barrel. Just going to give it a nice little coating on here. Just right, basically, say 2.5 inches from the end, right where that bottom flap tucks in there. And we're going to pull that up into the barrel all the way through. And it is now cleaned and lubed. And what I like to do, as soon as I'm done with the bore snake, wrap it back up and put it right back into its container, so there's no way that, you know, we're getting dirt or anything like that on there. There we go, we got that all put away. I'm going to kind of wipe down my mat a little bit, get some of this excess oil, that kind of oil and bore cleaner that dripped on there. I'm going to wipe off the end of my barrel, kind of wipe it down a little bit. We're going to visually inspect the bores again. They're both pretty clean. I got just a little bit of that fuzz material on there. Okay, we got that all cleaned off. Now we're going to set our barrel off to the side, and we're going to grab our brush, our just normal plain nylon brush. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our action, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is a little dirty in there. We're going to take and we're just going to give that a quick little wipe down before we touch it with the brush or anything. We don't want to be brushing that dirt in there. We just want to give her a good little wipe. Get it nice and clean. Once we get that clean, I'm going to take just a little bit of bore cleaner on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to clean these pivot points up right here on both sides. I'm going to clean the bottom where the latch is, and I'm going to push down on what keeps the latch. We're going to let that go ahead, and I'm going to just clean all the corners with the brush. We want to get it as clean as we can. Get any foreign material, excess powder, burnt powder, any dirt or grime out of all the pivot points. We're going to wipe that down again. And before I pull my brake lever open, you can see there's a thing on the bottom that's moving back and forwards. I'm going to give one little drop of oil right down on there. Try not to get any on the firing pins. Firing pins are meant to be dry. We're going to wipe up any excess. The thing with the firing pins, if you put oil on your firing pins and you are in a dusty, dirty environment, your firing pins will get gummed up, and you just lose a little bit of reliability. Easy for me to say. So we're going to put it back in the brake position. We're going to visually inspect it, make sure that we got all of our dirt out, everything's nice and clean. Now we're going to come up to our foregrip. We're just going to give it a quick wipe down. There ain't a whole lot of moving parts in here, but we want to make sure that we don't have any foreign material, dirt, anything like that in here. Okay, that's nice and clean. There's not a whole lot to lube up or in the way of moving parts in here. So I usually don't put any lube or anything on this lever. You know, and that's just kind of how that cleans up. You just basically wipe it down, make sure there's no dirt or anything. Now we're going to come back to our spent shell extractors, and I'm going to do the same thing on the brush. We're going to take the hops, and we're going to put just a little bit on the tip of the brush. Don't get carried away with this. And we're just going to kind of start scrubbing all the moving parts a little bit. Both sides. The bore face. Kind of get in here where the extractors right up and down on these pins. We want to get all that nice and clean. Now we're going to take our rag and we're going to wipe that down. Now I like to take my oil and I put just a little bit right on the front side of where this extractor is. There's kind of a little bit of a, on these, it's really hard to see, but there's kind of a little spring and ball in there. I put just a little bit on there just to kind of help them slide. But when I do it, I tip it at this angle so any excess oil will slide down on the inside of that extractor. I'll do both sides. Just one drop's all you need on each side. Now I'm going to put just a very little bit. There's these pockets that they sit on the pins. There's enough residual oil on the tip of the bottle from putting them drops in. That's really all I'm going to put on there. So now we're going to reassemble our 3 pieces here. And you want to pay attention that everything is latched together and it should just fall right in place. Don't force it. You don't want to break or bend any pins or anything. The foregrip just clicks right in like that. I'm going to move this brush back out of the way here. We are done with the bore cleaner and we are done with the oil. Now basically all I do is I'm going to grab this rag, and this rag's kind of impregnated with a oil. It's got kind of an oil on there, and you know, I think that this really helps in the storage side of it, keep the moisture off of it. And we're just going to wipe down the ribs, both sides. I wipe down my stocks if they're going to go into storage for a while. This gun's going to get put away for the probably for a little bit. A lot of the dog training I'm going to do, I'll use my 28 gauge, and I use my 28 gauge for a lot of clay shooting. But yeah, I'll wipe this all down. I'm going to break it open, make sure I get all the dirt from underneath that lever. We'll close it back up. Be careful when you're wiping this trigger down. Double verify that the gun is unloaded. And this rag's another one of those things that I truly believe that as soon as you're done with it, put it away. Being it is impregnated with oil, if you set it down on anything dirty, you'll pick all that dirt up, and the next time you go to wipe a gun down, you'll have it all scratched up, and nobody ever likes that. So a lot of times, kind of my final step is I'll find a clean spot on my rag, and I'll just give it kind of just a quick, get all the real excess oil off of it. I don't want to take it all off, I just want to take anything that's, you know, just going to kind of sit on there and is not assisting in the protection of the actual gun here. There you go, it's all cleaned up, ready to go. This is going to go in the gun safe, and we'll probably get it out. I got a couple trap shoot things that we're going to be doing this spring. I might get it out a couple times for that, just as another gun to take with. Not a lot of 16 gauges show up to those things, so it's always kind of a good conversation piece when I bring the 28 and the 16. But basic shotgun cleaning, you know, that's kind of how I clean all my shotguns. I use a bore snake on them. My rifled barrel, like say on my Remington 1100, I have a rifled cantilever slug barrel for that. That I actually use a traditional rod and patch and brush to clean it up. But for me, anything that doesn't have rifling, the bore snake's the way to go. There's a couple different manufacturers of it. Hops has been around for a long time, and they make a really good product. So I mean, if you guys are looking for this, I'll have a link down below where to get this, the bore cleaner, the brush set. You know, so go check that out. If you don't have one, I suggest getting one, because even if you're on a, say, like a 2-3 day hunting trip in South Dakota or something like that, it's snowing, you get back to wherever you're staying, the cabin or whatever. With the bore snake, you don't have to have everything all set up and laid out and a way to hold the gun. You can drop the bore snake through there, pull it through, and just give it a quick scrub, quick oil, and you don't have to worry about any issues from hunting in the elements. So if you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead, subscribe and like, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you guys.